you're new to my channel and haven't subscribed already, please do so before watching this episode. And if you love the episode, then be sure to give it a thumbs up at the end. Also, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think and if this ends up being really great and useful to you. Lately, it's really been on my heart to start talking to young women about their finances. And I know that's not really what this channel is centered around, but it's something that I have really been learning a lot about, and it's really changed my entire lifestyle. So I want to give you a little bit of background about myself. When I grew up, my parents definitely lived paycheck to paycheck most of my life. And I always thought that that was how things were going to be, how things had to be, unless one day for some reason you hit the lotto and you get lucky. And all those ideas are really enforced by my parents and their spending habits. And coming back to the beginning of the story, in 2016, I decided I need to take care of my finances because my parents aren't always going to be there to hold my hand to help me do my taxes and balance a checking account. I started reading a lot of books and Googling and YouTubing how to manage my finances, thinking that it would just be the solution to managing a checking and a savings account better. But I realized there was so much more to that. So there were 3 basic lessons that I want to share with you ladies today. So the number one thing that I have to tell you, which is the number one rule for all people looking to save money, to get out of debt, to just have extra fun money, whatever you want to do, is to pay yourself. You pay everybody else already. You pay taxes. A lot of companies, depending on where you work, they might pull money out for a 401k. The general rule of thumb is to pay yourself 10% off the top of your paycheck, no matter what. You can't pay your bills first. You can't go out shopping first. You can't go out with your friends first. If you can't do 10%, start with 5% now and work your way up to 10%. Ideally, because women actually live something like 12 years longer than men on average, it's actually good if you're a girl to start putting away about 12%. Some people end up starting at 10% and working their way all the way up to 20% of their income. You're not just going to put it aside and let it sit in a savings account, because it's actually depreciating because of things like inflation. So if you take your money and put it under a mattress or put it in a savings account, your money's not making any money and it's actually losing its value over time, which is not what you want to happen. So you're going to take that 10% and you're going to invest it. If you don't have enough to invest in what you want to invest in right now, that's okay. Neither did I. I started by just committing to putting away that 10% every single month. And that's the number one thing that you should start doing. Number 2 is to figure out where all of your money is going. I'm not a huge fan of budgets. Nobody wants to budget. It's not a good time. But what I committed to doing was figuring out where my money was going. I was spending all of my money really wastefully, and I could cut so many costs in my budget just by going out to eat a little bit less each month. I quickly made that change, and all of a sudden, with my 10% being put aside, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm starting to have money in the bank and it's starting to accumulate. Number 3 is kind of a combination. I want you to either start paying down your debts or don't accumulate those debts if you're young enough. I know some people already have credit card debts and they're really worried about how am I going to pay it off. You really need to commit to paying it off, because you are never going to accumulate great wealth in your life if you are just paying bills and paying bills and paying bills all the time. Going back to the whole budgeting thing, what really helped me to see where my money was going was I realized that a lot of the things I was spending my money on did not align with my values or the things that I really wanted. I was making purchases on things that provided instant gratification, but at the same time I was really unhappy because I wasn't able to pursue the things that I really wanted to do in life. And most people, if you ask them what is important to them in life, it's their family, it's their health, it's getting to spend time with their loved ones, and it's really about their life's experiences. Most people aren't going to tell you that the number one thing that they want to do after everything is said and done in life is that they wanted to own a car. Yes, a car could be something that you want to have, a really nice luxury car. Some people collect cars, but that's definitely not the norm. And if you really get into what people value, it's the intangible things. When we're in our 20s or our teens, we get a hold of our first credit card and immediately we want to go to the store, we want to go shopping, we want to buy stuff. We want to buy things that we actually can't afford, like crazy shopping sprees or the latest Anastasia Beverly Hills palette or the cutest new Jimmy Choo shoes, and you're like, don't worry, I'll pay it off later, I'm gonna get paid in 2 weeks and I'll pay off that credit card. But what happens is that we don't. My advice to you is, if you have credit cards, a couple of things you could do is this. Don't buy anything that you can't pay down within 1 month. So if it would take you longer than 1 month to pay down a purchase, don't make it. Granted, I know that there may be things like you have to have a car. The reason that you don't want to go out and buy those huge top of the line cars, you end up being a slave to your possessions. So the reason that you're going to work is not so then you can go and enjoy your money. You end up going to work just to pay those car payments. Another good rule of thumb is just if you can't afford to pay for something in cash, then you can't afford it. Something that really struck me was watching this credit card commercial years ago, and it was a girl walking down the street, and she walks past this storefront, and there's the most beautiful pair of red stilettos in the window, and she looks at them and she reaches for her credit card, and she grabs it and she stops for a second because she remembers that she wants to buy a house. Why? Well, that house is higher on her value priorities than those pair of shoes that are going to bring that instant gratification. So it really made me stop and pause and think about where I'm spending my money. I'm really aware of how I spend my money. I don't really go out shopping. I only buy things when other things wear out and I absolutely need them. I'm really minimalistic. I don't go out and spend my money at Nordstrom's when I can buy the same thing at Forever 21. So you will find that at this time you'll probably have to make some sacrifices like that. I know that Instagram looks really great, and there's always this idea of a facade of beautiful images and great wardrobe. A lot of my wardrobe is sponsored. You know, it's smoke and mirrors, so it's not about creating this like idea of this beautiful lavish lifestyle, which I feel like a lot of our generation does because of social media. We always want to show off. We want to show off our brands and our labels and all these things, but those things don't actually matter, and they're not really getting you closer to any of your goals. And what's happening is you're just going to end up being a slave to all of your possessions, which is something that you don't want. So that's why I wanted to talk about this today. I hope that you guys were able to try out these 3 tips. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you do try it, what a difference it makes, because I 100% did this, I do this, I believe in it, and I think that it will make the biggest difference in your guys' life. So thank you guys for joining me for this episode. I really appreciate it. I hope that this information is valuable to you. I want to do a lot more videos now talking about finances and to help you girls really take control of your financial destiny and future, and not wait for a man to do it or not wait for mom and dad to do it, because at the end of the day, it is your responsibility. And when you are financially responsible, you're able to do a lot more fun things like fund pageants or whatever it is that you're interested in. So thank you guys for watching this episode. Again, I really appreciate you for joining me, and stay tuned for the next one.